Welcome everyone, so this will be the Stem Sorc DD PvE guide for the Dark Brotherhood. I have been testing Stem Sorc for quite a while, and believe me guys, Stem Sorcs are really strong now. The changes really help them a lot to compete with other classes, so it's a really cool class to play. You will find a written guide under alcasthq.com/Windwalker. Now I call the build Windwalker because as long as we use Hurricane we are kind of in a wind form, so I think it kind of fits. Anyway, let's get started. So when I buff myself I sit at almost 3.9k weapon damage, 67 weapon critical, and we have 38k stamina and 17.3k health. We are using Shadow and the Thief Mundus. And we also have the Minor Slayer. I'm a vampire simply because we get a little bit more regen, but you don't need to be a vampire, it's really up to you. Either vampire, werewolf or nothing. But I like the vampire at 10% extra stam recovery, so it's pretty cool. Plus we use bound armaments, which gives us another 20% more stamina recovery. That is why we end up at 1k stam recovery, which is pretty nice for our resource pool. Now, I am a Red Guard. Red Guard is nice because Adrenaline Rush, it restores a ton of stamina every 3 seconds. However, if you want max DPS, you want to get the Kashyyyk. Sustaining will be easier with a Red Guard. You might lose a little bit DPS, but I think it's worth having a Red Guard if you have sustain issues. If you don't have any sustain issues, then go for a Kashyyyk. Now, gear wise, it's basically always the same. If you want the max DPS, there is like 1-2 setups you want to aim for. So really not much change compared to the other PvE builds for stamina classes. Still 5 pieces Twiceborn Star, 5 pieces Vicious Serpent with the Maelstrom weapons. Again, I will make sure to put some alternative things, setups on my website in case you don't have Maelstrom weapons or in case you don't have Vicious Serpent set. Now, at the moment I am wearing, because I don't have Vicious Serpent yet, still 5 Twiceborn, 1 Molakina and 4 pieces Alcast. Then you can use 5 pieces Alcast if you want. If you activate the synergy, it debuffs the enemy, which helps the whole group, plus you do quite a lot of physical damage over time. Pretty cool. Then make sure to get as much divine traits as possible. There is no cap, so get 7 pieces if you can. I only have infused here because I don't have a divine piece Molakina. Then 3 times weapon damage glyphs on jewelry, all robust. Weapons wise, I have a Maelstrom dagger sharpened and a Maelstrom axe sharpened. So now, why do I always change the weapon setups a little bit? It's really hard to say what is better. Like, you also, if you don't have an axe or a dagger, like both with sharpened or precise, then just go with 2 axes or 2 daggers. The difference is really small. At the moment I'm still pending between those two. Maybe 2 sharpened, or maybe only a Maelstrom dagger precise and a Maelstrom axe sharpened. It's a really close call to make. Now, Maelstrom bow, this bow it deals insane damage with the endless hail. Like, it does so much damage, it's insane. Now basically that's the gear setup. I will have a non-Maelstrom weapon setup on my website, just so I know a lot of people don't have those weapons because it's so much farming needed to get those weapons. Champion points wise, we have, first of the most important, 79 points mighty, 40 precise strikes, 48 thaumaturge. We basically only have dots with this build, so we can have a lot of points in thaumaturge, so it boosts our damage by quite a lot. Really cool. Now the other stuff, basically 67 Mooncalf, 100 Warlord, and then I have 100 hardy and 67 elemental defender. Again, this one is the most important setup. What you do with the others, just test it out, experiment. Now, skill wise, so that's where StemSorc is a little bit different, because it has a few other skills and a few nice passives. So let me first show you some of the new passives. So now increases your physical and shock damage by 5%. So 5% extra physical damage is really cool. Then implosion, you see it has a 6% chance to pulverize enemies under 15% health. So this is kind of a nice auto execute ability. You basically don't have to change your rotation and it automatically deals damage. Pretty cool. Then of course we also have the power stone, which is cool, reduces the cost of ultimate abilities by 15%. So our Dawnbreaker only costs 85 ultimate, which is really cool. Okay, now to the skills. Rending slashes, this dot, as you know we have the Maelstrom weapons, so every time we use flurry we get 3.1k weapon damage on our next single target dot. So we have rending slashes, then we have rearming trap, also this can be empowered by the Maelstrom weapons, plus we get minor force, increasing our critical damage by 12%. Then rapid strike, so this is one more for flurry, so that's what we buff our dots with. Then hurricane, really strong single target ability and a really fucked up AoE damage ability, believe me, it's insane. This cannot be empowered by the Maelstrom weapons though, but still it doesn't matter. Flawless Dawnbreaker, the dot can be empowered, so it's our favorite ability to use at the moment for single target. Now you see, we get 5% weapon damage by slotting Dawnbreaker, and we have one fighter skill, two fighter skilled abilities. So we have the Slayer passive, increases weapon damage by 3%. So by having those two abilities we get 11% extra weapon damage. Really cool stuff. Bound armaments, we get 8% more max stamina from this skill. So this has to be slotted. That is why I almost have 40k or 39k stam here. Okay. It has to be slotted on both sides because it's still a toggle. I really hope they change it anytime soon. Anyway. Bowbar, Endless Hail. Our strongest single target skill and a really strong AoE skill. It gets buffed a lot by the Maelstrom weapon. Then Cult Drops. So make sure to have Razor Cult Drops, I couldn't morph it yet. If you have the sustain, use it. Remember, you cannot stack it, so only one person can use it. It deals really nice damage. Poison Injection, this can be empowered by the Maelstrom weapons, so use it from 100%. And then we have Dark Deal. We don't really need this unless we get low on stamina. So you see, like, we basically use 3k Magicka and we get 5k stamina and 8k health in return. So this is kind of a spell symmetry version for stamina dudes. You can pop it like twice, or in AoE fights you can use it and you will have a lot of stamina again. And here we use Shooting Star. So the reason why I like Shooting Star is because you get ultimate back if you shoot it into a trash fight. Single target wise we always use Dawnbreaker, it's the strongest damage ability we can have. What you can do is though, if you start, you can first shoot the Shooting Star at the boss and then always empower the Dawnbreaker with your rapid strikes. So now there is a few things to know. Like it doesn't look like we have a lot of skills, but the rotation is kind of tricky because it's not a simple rotation because of a few skills. So first off, what you have to know about rearming trap. So you can empower this. The trap takes 1.5 seconds to arm, so it doesn't instantly arm, right? So the thing is, the Maelstrom weapons do empower the trap, but it doesn't consume the Maelstrom buff. So what you have to make sure is before you use before you either use rending slashes or poison injection, you have to make sure that your rearming trap snapped on the enemy. Because if the rending slashes first hits and then the trap activates, your trap will not get empowered. That's the problem. So now again what I do is I use rapid strikes, then I drop the trap, I swap to the second bar, drop the endless hail, and by the time I finished endless hail animation it should snap, and then I use poison injection. Endless hail doesn't consume the Maelstrom buff here, so it's kind of a filler ability, and then the trap will snap and after you shoot the poison injection. Next thing, Hurricane. So we know the longer it is on, the more damage it does, right? And the bigger it gets. So you really want to make sure not to reactivate it too early. So this is the only tricky thing about the build here, because you really need to make sure, no matter where you are, that you keep the Hurricane up. So I always do rapid strikes, then I do rending slashes, rapid strikes, rearming trap, I swap, endless hail, poison injection, I swap back. I do rapid strikes till rending slashes run out. The moment it run out, I reapply it and start the rotation again. And in between I have to make sure to keep Hurricane up. And again, don't reactivate it too early, because the longer it runs, the more damage it does. So single target wise, Hurricane, it can almost do, I don't know, it's a lot of DPS, it's a really strong skill. Like 2k up to 3k, it's really strong because it takes so much. But only if you keep to let it run out and you don't reactivate it too early. I will make sure to upload a DPS test anytime soon so you can see how I fight with this build. That was already it. If you have any questions about Stem Sorc, make sure to ask me in the comment section of the video. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching and see you soon. Cheers.